Okay, now we just created a property called change height, and now we want to use it. So he says, let's see how to use our new property. It's not a terribly useful property, by the way, because a picture box already has a height and width property that you can use. So ours is a bit redundant. But we're keeping it simple so that we can understand how to create your own properties. And it's not a good idea to put this property into the code for your convert postcode class. After all, what has the height and width of a picture box got to do with postcodes? But anyway, we're just going to do it there, right? Even though this is probably not something you would normally do. Okay, now remember that our property is part of the class, which is not part of the form, right? The class is separate. Class is here, and the form is here. These are very separate codes, but this is associated or can be accessed from here, as we've seen. We've been doing it. Okay, so your property is not much good where it is. You need to be able to call it into action. The way you do that is to create a new object from the class and then read and write to your property. So we're going to do the same kind of thing we did before. So double click the new button you've added to your form. So we have a new button, and put this code in there. So first thing is, we're going to do just like before, but in this new button we're going to create an instance of our convert postcode class, and it's going to be called this. Well, I'm sorry, we're not going to create an instance yet because this is just a pointer to the fact that it's that type of code, and it's just basically it's locating. It says this is comes from this kind of class. Okay, then we're just going to create an integer, just a simple integer. We're going to call it new height, and now we're going to actually create another instance of our convert postcode by doing again this same code here. So we have the class, the type of class or the class, new, and where we're assigning it to after we've already set this up here. Two lines you've already met: the one that creates a pointer to a variable, the first line, and the one that creates a new object from your class, the second line. Third line, sorry. The second line is just creating a variable called new height. Sorry, I didn't even notice. He says, notice that we've given the object a different name to last time. It's now called this. But it doesn't matter. It's still of this type. To pass a value to your new property, the set part, add this line. So here's our new property, and we're going to set it by taking what's in one of our text boxes. As soon as you type the name of your object and then a period, or full stop as they say, you'll see the pop-up box appear, and one of the variables will be called, one of the properties will be called change height, or maybe the only property is called change height. And here you can see it's not a method, it's a different thing, it's a property. And here we can see it's public property, change height as integer. You should see your new property in the list. You can tell it's a property because the symbol next to it is a hand holding a card. If you double click the property, the code is added for you. After typing an equal sign, you then assign a value to your new property. Here we're just passing the property whatever value is inside the text box called text height. So now we're going to have this code as well. So this is our, now this has a, now the change height property has accepted a value from the text box, and now it's going to go into new height, which is another variable. This variable here that we just set up. You can then set the height of the picture box by taking this and putting it into the picture box set height property. When you add the line above, your button code should look like this. So we have, we did that. So we're getting the value from the text box called height and putting it in our property. Then we're taking our property and putting that into this variable, and then we're taking this variable and assigning and setting the picture box height with that. And then at the end we do this, and that is you have to then basically delete or empty your objects that you've used, otherwise the compiler won't like it and doesn't want to waste space, so it will, so you're supposed to do that. He says, notice the last line, because objects take up space in memory, you can release them by setting the object to nothing. VB is supposed to do the cleaning up for you, but you can't be sure that it's doing its job properly, so it's good form to release your own objects from memory. When you've finished adding the code, run your program and test it out. Click your new button and the height of the picture box should change. Just to recap, okay, so what did we do? We set up a property by using the following code stub. So code stub means it's just blank at this point. The get statement is used for setting values of for your properties. The set statement. The get statement is used for returning values from your properties. Once you've created a new object variable to use your class, type the name of the variable and select the property from the pop-up list. When you're setting values to your property, the object variable and the property go on the left-hand side of the equal sign. When you're getting values from your property, the object variable and the property go on the right side. It's obvious. Release your objects from memory by using the nothing keyword. Okay, so that is it. Congratulations. We have covered classes and objects in a pretty detailed way. Now, as I said, we haven't covered the art of this subject, meaning, you know, when to create an object, what objects should you create, and how can objects interact, perhaps. Okay, this we didn't cover at all, but just the basics of how to create them, what they are, how to add methods and properties and access those methods and properties. That's what we did. Okay, I'll stop this and continue with the next video.